My friend told me this horrific story yesterday, and it has to be the scariest thing I've ever heard, so I felt like sharing it to remind everyone to stay safe and cautious. This happened to a friend of our friend not too long ago. So, this girl matched with a guy on Tinder and went on a couple of dates with him. On the first two dates, they went out for coffee and then took a walk right after. She really liked him. She thought that he was friendly, good looking, etc., and thought that they clicked. For the third day, the guy suggested she come over to his place to have some wine. She agreed, only because she felt safe and comfortable with him. So the time comes, and she goes over to his place and pours her a glass of wine. Things seem to go as well. They joke around and enjoy a nice talk together. After a while, she starts feeling funny. Now, luckily, this girl has already been roofied once before, so she immediately recognized the effects once they kicked in. She was extremely clever in this situation and pretended she was feeling fine. She told him as cheerfully and energetically as possible that she was quickly going to go to the restroom, as to seem like nothing was off. Once she was in the bathroom, she locked the door and immediately called the police. She told them she was drugged and locked herself in the bathroom, and that they needed to come and get her out of there as soon as possible. Pretty soon after she passed out, she was awakened by the police, but is still very drugged and slides in and out of consciousness. All she remembers is the police putting a bag over her head as they carried her out of there. She was saved by them. A few days later, she is asked to come down to the police station to give her declaration of events. After doing this, she asked whether she remembers the police putting a bag over her head correctly, or if it was imagined by her due to the drugs, or what was up with that. The police told her that the police indeed put a bag over her head, but only because they decided it would have been too traumatizing for her to see, as they carried her out of there, of what the guy had prepared and set up for her in the living room. This sent shivers down my spine. The guy ended up in jail, and to this day, she doesn't know what he had in mind for her, but it's clear this was a very messed up, incredibly scary situation that could have ended horribly. Please, 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 always let someone know when you plan on going on a Tinder date, even if you feel safe, even if it's not your first date. Always ask a friend to call and check up on you during and after to let someone know you're safe. It's a pretty scary world out there. I had started seeing a girl off Tinder, and it was going well for about 2 weeks, and thought she was pretty cool. Then things started getting weird. She used to always joke about killing me, and I thought it was okay the first few times, but then it got annoying. I told her to stop, and she kept going on about it. I don't know if it was because she thought it was funny, or that it freaked me out, or what. Anyways, she told me she had this shotgun in her room, and long story short, I told her I didn't want to see her anymore. She didn't like that. For the next 3 weeks, she's absolutely hounding me. She calls me constantly, shows up at my work, and keeps coming over to my apartment. She actually knocked on my door for 30 minutes. When I didn't answer, she went around to the back and started knocking on my bedroom window. Got really concerned for a while, but eventually she gave up. I don't know why she was doing that, but I'm just glad that she stopped. I'm not sure what was up with her in the head there. I started speaking to this guy on Tinder a few months ago. He seems alright, but not my normal type. Regardless, we started speaking for a couple of days. I didn't realize how stupid I was until now, but I mentioned where I worked. The night I mentioned my workplace, I saw a guy walk past that looked a lot like him. I hadn't met him in person, so I wasn't 100% sure. I forgot about it, and a couple of days later, it was pretty quiet at my work and none much was going on, but my phone battery was low, and I told him I'd speak to him later before my phone died. A few minutes later, I saw him coming in with an effing iPhone charger. Yes, this might have been a nice gesture if you had known the person and actually met him face to face before. This was really weird because he said he lived on the other side of the city from where I worked. I wanted to cut ties straight away, but I thought I'd return the charger after I finished work. He said he would be at a bar around the corner, so when I finished, I met up with him, and I gave him the charger and made some excuse to go home. To my horror, I saw on Instagram that he'd taken a smiling selfie earlier in the day with the caption, "I'm now a taken man." I'd seen him like not even twice. To make it even scarier, for a good few weeks, every time I'd finish work, I would see him casually walking past on his own, exactly at the same time I finished. This really creeped me out for a while. I'm a 24-year-old male, and I used Tinder once before and met a cool chick, and it didn't work out, so I decided to try it again. What could go wrong, right? So, after a few days of using Tinder, I stopped launching the app, but I left my profile active, so I kept getting a few matches. Well, one night, my friends and I decided to go bar hopping in a pretty well popular area, because why not? We're all pretty smashed at the bar, and I'm wearing the same sweater that was in my profile picture. Apparently, some girl and I matched, and she sent me a few messages. I checked. It was 10 within a 2-hour period, and I never responded. This girl, to my surprise, is in the same bar as me. She recognized me and starts yelling at me. Mind you, I didn't have any idea what was going on, as I'm drunk off my butt. She's going psycho, saying, "What the F? The adventuring panda? Why did you never respond to me?" I responded with, "Who are you?" Apparently, this drove her nuts. She started yelling combinations of words I've never heard before. Then she grabbed my drink and threw it in my face. Then security came and threw us both out on our asses. She then followed my buddies and I to the car and is yelling and screaming still. While we were driving off, she threw her shoe at the car. My buddies were laughing the entire time. I think I'm just gonna stay inside for the rest of my life. The psycho lady ruined the party because I didn't respond to her Tinder messages. What kind of world is this? This is my brother's Tinder story. He lives at home with my mother still. So my brother met a chick on Tinder. He took her on a date, ended up bringing her home for the night, and then that was that. A few weeks later, my mother went to the backyard and noticed the door to the camper was open. There were a bunch of clothes and a pair of Ugg boots that belonged to the chick. It turned out that she had been sneaking into the camper at night and sleeping there and doing drugs. My brother had no idea of this, and my mom called the cops immediately, and it turns out the chick had a warrant out for her arrest. She's still in jail to this day. This one night, I matched with this girl on Tinder. I checked her profile pics out. I liked the look of her, and her bio was pretty sweet too, so I messaged her. We had a good conversation. We both flirted, and I got a nice feeling from it. We were talking for a few weeks, and I became quite close with her. I opened up to her about some days when I wasn't feeling too good, and it just felt nice to connect to her and have someone there who understood me. Every time I asked to meet up with her, she would always come up with some excuse. She wouldn't let me have her number, and she said she didn't have social media as she was taking a break from it. With this one day, she uploaded a photo one day on Tinder. It was of a guy, and I said, "Oh, who's that?" She kept ignoring me until she said that she didn't mean to upload that, and it was a mistake. So, anyway, from that, I was like, this is so odd. I went to meditate, and I was meditating for a while. I just felt this wave of energy telling me that the person I was talking to isn't real. So I asked her if we could have a video call, and she kept saying no. It just wasn't adding up. Then I took the photo and ran it via a Google image search, and it came up with loads of pics of them. I was like, what? I've been catfished by a guy. I even asked him about it. but then they just denied it and then blocked me. I felt so stupid and hurt afterwards. I really couldn't use Tinder or any dating apps for a while. It still haunts me to this day, but luckily I found a nice girl and we've been dating for a while now. I'm just still wondering why anybody would do that to somebody.